Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. We are back with the Ted Show. First show of the week, I think. I don't know. I can't remember if I've done any shows. Today's Tuesday. I have not had enough coffee, so we are there. But I'm super excited to have my friend, the incredibly talented Professor Dr. Michael B. Timmons, is back on the show. And we're going to talk about all things aquaculture, aquaponics, fish. And we're going to talk to you about sustainability and why this is so important, what Mike is working on, what we're all working on. Welcome back to the show, my friend. How you doing?
I am doing fabulous. I've been up since 6 o'clock, so I don't know why you're still waking up, Ted.
No, I have not been up that early, but I have only had 1 cup of coffee today, so I am. I need some caffeine stat, and as you can tell, I'm not in my usual place where I can go, hey, bring me some caffeine. So just so the audience knows, we're having a little bit of microphone challenges right now. And so, oh, look, that's what I need, Mike. And when you're front and center for a little bit, I may go run and get one. So we're going to make Mike front and center just like this a lot. And I'm going to ask my questions and bring myself back on. But I think you guys will be able to hear him just fine if he's like that. So with just Ohio State. No, the Ohio State.
I'm from Ohio State.
All right. So before we take a deep dive, Mike, tell them about you, because that's always the first place we start. They want to know why we would even listen to you and talk about fish and what that all means. So give us a little history.
Right. So as you can tell, I went to Ohio State University. I graduated from there in 1971 with my bachelor's in agricultural engineering, which is, yeah. Hey, funny thing, I actually flew to Texas this week to help my brother move from Houston to San Marcos, and the Lyft driver that picks me up, I said, and he goes, well, let me tell you something about myself, and he says, I went to Texas A&M in agricultural engineering.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
There's 2 of you in the world.
So amazing, right? So agricultural engineering is, we bring physics to agriculture. So, yeah, so engineering, what is engineering? Solving problems. So I grew up on a farm not too far from Ohio State University on a dairy and hog farm. Oink, oink, oink. And I really liked science and math, and I really like growing things. I've always liked growing things, like growing friends in Orlando.
I'll take that. I'll bring myself back on for that one. But the growing, that's different. So I can understand agriculture, but how did you make the shift into, or was it even a shift? How did fish come into play?
Wow. Okay. So Ohio State, went to University of Hawaii in Manoa, got my master's degree, went back to Ohio, was a deputy county engineer next to Columbus, Ohio, a lot of urban encroachment, but farming was what the main vocation is in Madison County. Then my wife decided I should get a PhD. I met my wife in Hawaii, a Japanese woman
Nice.
in Tokyo. And I spoke really good Japanese at one point until I got married. Okay, it's a long story. And so she thought I got a PhD because I really wanted to seriously help make the world a better place, particularly related to food production, so we could do it more. Even back then, I was thinking about sustainability. How are you going to do this responsibly?
Was that even a word, a buzzword back then? Because that seems to be a buzzword. That is such a big buzzword now.
Right, sustainability, right? Everybody uses it. Their websites all have it. Yeah, it's like everybody has organic food now, and the organic movement was started with people with pigtails, right? And then once commercial business found out that you could get a premium for organic produce, they move in and commercialize it large scale. And little George with his ponytail kind of got pushed to the side, but it is organic, right? So organic is a good thing. It means you're providing the plants nutrients from organic sources, i.e. like cow, pig, manures, so that those nutrients that are in the manures are mineralized in the soils, and then the plants absorb them, and then they grow. And you did that without chemicals, fertilizer. Like, that's a bad thing. Like, I have a bunch of chemicals.
But I think so. Let's talk about that before we talk all about fish. The organic. We had a bunch of questions about organic the last couple of times we've been on, and since you just said it, it reminded me. Everybody, it seems, can put organic on a label. A, is that true? B, how do we? If that's true, how do we separate what's really organic, the general consumer, like who doesn't have your knowledge? How do we really separate what's truly organic from what's just skating by? Or is there even such a thing?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Ted. You have a lot of good questions. You should go like into this.
I got an A+ today, Mike.
Yeah, like I said last week, I told Ted, my goal in my class is all my students get A's, and if they don't get A's, it means I didn't do my job. Okay, so organic. Everybody started. This is 40 years ago, 50 years. Everybody started labeling organic, right? Well, the government came to our rescue, of course, and said, okay, we will create an organic division in USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. And they put standards on what had to occur, the growing method, so it could be labeled organic. Now, so there is a governing body that defines organic, but can anybody put organic? Yeah, so we're kind of talking about seafood, remember?
Right.
So another factoid here is when I would teach my aquaculture classes for the last 40 years, I retired, believe it or not. I officially became a professor emeritus January 4th, 2021. All of 2020, I was down here starting my business. Cornell loved me so much, he said, go away, Mike, for a year. We'll pay you. I have a little bit of a challenge, for
not you.
Because I just like to get things done. I was like,
yeah,
get things done, right? So back to organic. Anybody can put organic. That was a governing body that does that, and very, very strict standards of what organic is. Okay, and so then commercial agriculture took it over, but now it's the combination of small farmers, large farmers, all that. Very strict standards on how you produce organic, what can be labeled as organic. Now, having said that, Ted, organic produced food is going to generate a premium price somewhere between 10 and 20%, something like that. But I've done a lot of marketing research because professors like to do that. And what people are really interested in is, where did my food come from?
Right.
And is it traceable? Well, the Orlando Live Project, Making Orlando Better, we're trying to make it really easy for people to tell where their food comes from, because it's going to come from right down the street, like maybe from my farm. So we're going to produce organically produced vegetables and fruits. Tomatoes are fruits, cucumbers and lettuces and butterhead lettuces and kale and spinach and strawberries all year round. Because my wife actually loves strawberries more than she loves me. Hard to believe.
It was a tough choice, Mike. All right, so how does fish play in? How does fish play into this whole thing of sustainability and growing vegetables? And I think people get confused, and honestly, it is kind of an interesting concept, making salmon great again. It is an interesting concept because you don't usually think of water or fish as helping plants grow. I don't know. That's just the consumer, I would think. So how does it all work?
So remember, you got an A last week, Ted. So
I did.
Let's keep it going, right? So I've done a lot of projects. I've done a lot of entrepreneurial projects, and of course you have to always raise money, right? And so I did a farm not too far from Cornell University called Finger Lakes Aquaculture, and I had to raise a couple $1 million. And so I would go to an investment meeting and I'd say, "Hey, I raise fish without any water." And they go, No way, Dr. Timmons. I go, well, I use a little bit. I use 1/5000th of the water that conventional fish farming would use. And I go, that's why I use a little tiny bit. Okay, so just to put this in perspective, Ted, this is pretty amazing. My farm was 40,000 square foot, which is about an acre. And inside there, I raised 1,000,000 pounds a year of tilapia, which is a tropical animal in Siberia, sometimes called upstate New York. It's really cold up there. So inside, I moved water from A to B, like from your consumption point to your water treatment plant. I moved like 15 or 20 million gallons of water a day. So that's like a city of like 50,000 people. Okay. Wow. You know how much water I use, Ted?
Oh, tell me. I don't.
A little bit. Okay. If you took a hose, you know, there inside of your garage, you want to wash your car, right? And you turn on the spigot and a little water comes out. That's about 15, 20 gallons per minute. That's how much water I use to raise 1,000,000 pounds a year of tilapia. But I was moving around. So we got to do time for a prop. Time for a prop here. So you remember last week I brought a fish tank. Here they are again. This is, oh yeah, this is some, you got it last week you got it right? What kind of fish is this, Ted?
Red snapper.
Correct. It's actually a max fly, Titleist.
Yes, I could tell. I like it. I like the red snapper part. That's good.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, there's my fish tank. Okay, now.
We have a question, Mike. We have a question. Dr. Timmons, how quick is the farm-to-table process for the fish and other items through the aquaponics process?
Good question.
Thank you, David.
I think I have a good answer, okay?
We're counting on you to have the answer because I don't.
If you want more answers, they're all in the yellow book. See, you know how I came up with the name of the yellow book?
Tell me, because it's yellow.
Good answer. Yes, it's called Recirculating Aquaculture 4th edition. There's about 15,000 of these around the world. Everybody that's in aquaculture has this book. This is what made me famous, is this yellow book, okay? And there's like 800 pages and tells you how to do fish. And chapter 19, just for those who want to know, okay, it's a big book, okay?
It's a giant yellow book.
Chapter 19 is all about aquaponics. And what is aquaponics? Aquaponics is when you combine fish culture with plant culture. See my plants?
Yes, very nice.
Okay. So the fish only assimilate a very small fraction of the nutrients that you feed them, and then they go off into the water column as either solid waste, i.e. manures, right, or solubilized nutrients, and then those nutrients move over magically, because I put them over there, into the plant side, and then the plant absorbs those nutrients to grow. So that is organically produced. But your question was, how long does this all take?
Yes,
okay?
David wants to know.
Okay, about that long. Okay. This is really cool. This surprised me, Ted. So you take a lettuce seed, for example. They're not very big, about 1 millimeter, not that big. You put it into the culture medium, okay, which could be coconut hulls or whatever. And then 35 days later, you got this big head of lettuce. 35 days. 35 days seed, and you got a 150 gram or about a third of a pound big, nice lettuce head. 35 days.
So what is the outside of aquaponics? How fast does it grow? How long would it take a lettuce head to grow?
Well, it depends on the environment. Oh, but if you gave the plant the nutrients it needs, then which are going to come through the soil through water transport, and you get proper light, 35 days. But that never happens in the real world because you don't control the environment, so it might take 40 days to 60 days. And then, of course, it takes 10 times more of the water than what we do. So 10 times more of the water, Ted, than what we can do indoors controlled. And then there's all these other bad things happen with us outdoors, like bacteria from the flies that appear, or the dogs that come out and go, shh, whatever.
But that's the fascinating part. I think one of the biggest takeaways that I've gotten learning more and more about aquaponics and hydroponics is that it circumvents, or at least almost circumvents, all of the issues that you would have growing it traditionally in the soil, and the pesticides and the runoff and the oils and the gas and the la, because it isn't a natural environment they're growing in out there in the soil. They've got all that other stuff that's going into the soil that's impacting.
Okay, so Ted, I'm going to harvest some lettuce.
That's some lettuce.
Yeah, had an effect, right? Harvest. Yeah, here's a key point, right? In controlled environment, I can harvest my plants, my vegetables. Like I harvest them, I immediately put them into a cool environment, i.e. the refrigerator, right? And then I keep them refrigerated, and I drive them up to Paramore, downtown Orlando, and keep them cool. They are good for like 3 weeks. Amazing. Because
that's amazing. All right, go ahead.
They've been properly handled. Now, don't wait 3 weeks. Just order them every day from us, and we'll bring them up to you. But circling back, they do this day, Jen Pasak, circling back.
Circling back.
What about the fish?
Well, that's actually a question that just came out. And the red snapper, how long will that take for it to be ready for consumption?
Well, we like to, my specialty is tilapia, the chicken of the sea, pretty much.
We have questions about tilapia, too.
The chicken of Paramore. Okay. Once you get them up to about an inch, which is another story, they grow about 1.5 inches a month. So I can get a pound and a half tilapia, which is a pretty nice little guy, about 6 months. But again, Ted, it's controlled environment. We got to control the water so they have their optimum economic temperature, pH, all those things. And so there's no stress on them. So if you don't stress an animal, they convert what you feed them maximally into protein. But even doing that, they still have nutrients that they expel in a variety of ways. And that's why we take those nutrients over and give them to the plants, and we have aquaponics situation.
So we have a lot of questions, and I keep forgetting to ask them, and we'll start to wrap up because, of course, we're over time.
I am happily married.
Not that question. What about tilapia itself? Tilapia's gotten kind of a bad rep in the food world because it's been labeled as bottom feeder and don't eat that because it's gross and it's got all the junk in it. What do you say to people? Is that true? Is there any accuracy to that? And then how do we circumvent that?
There, of course, is or some accuracy to every claim. and so I when a person says, "Oh, Dr. Timmons tilapia, I would never eat those," their omega-6s are so high, it's just like eating pork, and I don't want to eat pork. I go, you are my ideal customer because you are suffering from misinformation. So I explain to them that in controlled environment, our fish, our tilapia, no antibiotics, no hormones, and we feed them a feed which is non-fish oil, non-fish meal based. Actually, it's basically algae and plant-based. So we can actually create an omega-6, omega-3 profile level that mimics wild salmon. So it gets back to the fish are the same as us. You are what you eat. Okay. And so if you feed the fish what they should be fed, you can create a nutritional profile that is desired. And in fact, we can do the same thing on the plants. This is amazing, Ted. So we have research underway right now at Cornell University. And I'm still an adjunct, no, professor emeritus. I thought the best thing about being a professor emeritus, my wife gets a parking permit that she can park anywhere on campus.
That's her favorite for sure.
Okay, so say you wanted to have lettuce that's high in selenium, for example, right? Well, because selenium has effect on brain development, particularly in younger children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I could feed my fish a high diet in selenium, then a lot of that will be excreted into the water column, and then we solubilize that. The plants then absorb that and assimilate it, and then guess what? You got lettuce that's high in selenium, and then your children will become geniuses.
Wow. That in and of itself.
It's like Lake Wobegon. It's just like Lake Wobegon. And here's some feeling.
All right, so guys, I know you guys have a lot of questions, and we have a ton more. But Mike and I are going to be doing this series every week, so get your questions together, send them to me like you did. Mike, what's the best way for them to reach out to you, learn more, get your book, and all of that good stuff?
Give me a big hug and a kiss. That works every time. But if I'm 6 foot away, which we're supposed to do these days, they can send me an email, which is M as in Mike, B as in boy, T as in terrific, or Ted, MBT, the number 3, at Cornell with 2 L's, .edu, Edward David Banana. Remember, you can always tell a man from Cornell, but you can't tell him very much.
That sounds like any man, my wife would say.
Now, and then my mobile and text, I do really well on text, which is area code 607-227-5638. I have one last question for you, Ted.
Please, I'm ready.
Okay, what is the definition of hydroponics?
Hydroponics is air. Yes? No? I'm terrible at this. I didn't study.
Soilless culture of the plant.
Okay, so, yeah, that's what I meant.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So we have to talk about hydroponics soon, and we're going to continue to talk about fish and sustainability and vegetables and all of that good stuff and the things that you can do and can't do. We had a whole bunch of questions about organics, so I'm glad I remembered to bring that up. And a lot of questions about tilapia. You guys keep asking these questions. Reach out to Mike. He's just as fun and accessible as he is on this show. Thank you, my friend. You can go to apj.farm, professort.fish, or tedscommunity.com and find all of Professor Dr. Michael B. Timmons' information. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Ted. I really enjoy these, and I don't know what you know, I kind of have fun doing it.
You do, and that's what makes it fun for everyone else. That's what makes you a successful educator. I actually had somebody come on Twitch, because we're live on Twitch. You'd have to look that up probably to know what that is. I know I did. But we're live there, and one of the people said, he needs a bigger platform. So you got fans out there, Mike. I'm like, yes, I know. It's just the TED show, but we're working on it. We're going to get him a bigger platform. So, all right, guys, reach out to us if you have any questions. Thanks. We'll be back next week, same time, hopefully same place or thereabouts. Bye, guys. See you later.